Just into the 7 Action News newsroom, former Detroit Mayor Kwame Kilpatrick is being moved to a prison in Philadelphia. Kilpatrick had spent the past few years behind bars in Oklahoma. He is serving 28 years in federal prison on corruption charges.
You got challenges that you're going to run across.
Told the story about sitting out there watching all those guys unload off the bus.
Yes.
And it looks like Jamestown.
Yeah.
That was, you painted that picture, man. That was really
good. That's good. I'm glad you saw that. It was, that's how I felt. I actually felt like I was removed from what was going on while I was watching it. And like I said in the book, you know, they called my name. I said, oh, I realized I'm a part of it.
Yeah.
You know? I'm looking at all of these men get off one bus in change, shuffled around to another bus, get in that line up here, get over here. All right, you 4 over there, get in. I mean, I was like, wow, I've seen this before on movies. It was a very sobering experience, but I know what it is now. And, you know, a lot of those men, the statistics say they'll never have the kind of life that will produce any type of fruit.
Mm-hmm.
And so what do? Most of them reoffend. And so that sounds okay until they reoffend by knocking your wife or daughter or your kids over the head. And so at some point, there has to be another conversation about how we do reentry. How we do prisons, more and more in prison. Listen, in the federal system now, I only had a few prisons that have programs. I was at a prison, Fort Dix, which is the largest federal facility. It's over 4,000 inmates there. They don't really have anything but GED. So if you got your GED, ain't nothing for you to do. Sit around and everything is in prison. Drugs, liquor,
everything's
it's in there. And so what if you're 24, 23, 25, going in, or 35, going in there and you got 10 years to do and you get to go to this prison, what do you do for the 5 years you're there before they move? You become a worse person, a lazier person. And so people like me going to people, hey man, get in this GED program. What's your name, big fella? Oh, blah, blah, blah. We working, but it needs to be some institutional transformation. So people understand these people are coming out here, and it's a lot of them that don't want living next to me either.
Right.
You ask the average person that's been. It's a lot of people we don't want living next door to our and people either. Let us help you with that. Let us talk to you about how we can look at it. I was talking to a warden, an ex-warden. He was from Coleman Federal Institution. We were talking about we could go in a prison and feel the environment. I've been in 5 federal facilities and 3 state facilities. I can feel the environment as soon as I'm there. I know whether I need to go, it's going to be a knife fight tonight. I know whether this is a cool spot. I know as soon as I get there, you can feel the tension.
Pulling up to it, you can feel it. Yeah, my partner tells me that.
Yeah, you can feel it. And you know what kind of spot it is as soon as you get on the ground. And we need more people who have that experience to assist the government leaders with trying to figure out how we find ways to move people from prison to work and prison to society.
Yeah, it's not talked about a lot. And, you know, because most people feel like, okay, we caught the criminal, throw him away for life. And 9 times out of 10, most of them are not going to be there for life. Even though they might be sentenced for life, if they start changing, they're going to leave out anyway. So I don't know if they can build enough prisons, you know, for how many they're actually putting in. Yeah. But I don't think, like you said, it's not discussed, it's not talked about. So it's not on our minds to really focus on that. And it needs to be more of that, like you said. And that's part of your goal.
Yes, that is. I want to make sure it's a lot of people that I left in that place that I need to really advocate for. I spend a lot of time helping people with paperwork, filing on behalf of
I talked about that.
While I was there.
Public speaking also, you was helping them with that, right?
Yes, I did a public speaking class, a cognitive skills class, employability skills. You know, a lot of guys ain't never had no job. They never did a resume.
Right.
They don't know how to do a job in
it. Checking account.
Yeah, they ain't never had none of that.
Yeah.
So really helping people to understand that kind of thing, because a lot of these guys are extremely bright. They just never had those experiences.
Mm-hmm.
And so how do they, and we all, when we get pressure, we go back to what we're comfortable with. You know, I was just teaching a Bible study on Peter. And as soon as he lied and said he didn't deny Christ and all of that, right after that, he said, I'm going to fishing. It was too much for him. I'm not doing no more. I'm going back to what I was doing when Christ found me. I'm going to go fishing.
That's what I know.
And that pressure put him back in the same spots. Well, that's the same thing that happened with a guy getting out of prison. He tries to find a job. He tries to move up. But when it gets pressure, the baby mother, the wife, the kids, the stuff, I don't have anything. He's used to having stuff. He goes back to what he's used to.
Knows.
He goes back to what she knows. And so the problem becomes, how do you move that mindset out where they have an absolute certainty in what they're good at somewhere else? Because most of what I hear, even in phone calls and meetings, it's I don't know what else I'm good at.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you've been sitting there for 7-8 years and you don't know what you're good at because nobody has any programs to address that. And so places like El Reno have so many programs, and then places like Fort Dix have none. That has to change.
Mm-hmm. When you talk about pressure, I think of an analogy of the first 3 years. I'll say the first 2 years in Atlanta with Michael Vick. When the pressure hit him in the pocket, he took off running because that's what he knows. You know what I'm saying? When they start coming at him and they collapse that thing, you're going to go back to what you know what to do, is just take off running. But after a while, after you start learning more and getting more information, then you will stay in that pocket a little longer until you get results. And it's the same thing with people coming out. Once they get more information and understand what they can do out there, then they'll stay a little bit more on track trying to find a job or trying to do something if they got an idea or if they learned the trade.
Yes.
You know, they're like, okay, eventually I know I can do this stuff. Somebody's going to let me in the game. But if you don't think that you know anything anyway, and then as soon as you get hit with, you know, you're a felony, or, you know, we ain't going to hire you because of this and that, you got a felony or whatever, and that pressure, like you said, is coming on, and they don't have any other thing to fall back on. I hate, even growing up, at one point, they took all the trades out of the school system. You know what I'm saying? They took that away. I think with this AI thing now, a lot of folks need to go back to the trades, because
absolutely,
make sure you like and subscribe and hit the all button and all that kind of stuff, because we're going to have a lot of good interviews on this podcast.